Hey, welcome to another video. So in this one, I'm going to be carving a maple leaf in a cookie slab basswood. And for those of you that don't necessarily know what a cookie slab is it's basically when they're milling the log, they're cutting perpendicular to the log instead of parallel, exposing end grain on both sides. For those of you out there with some experience carving, you would probably suggest staying away from carving end grain. And generally, I would agree with you. But with this one, and it being basswood, I think you can kind of get away with it and have it still be somewhat of an enjoyable experience. But you have to have very sharp gouges. And if you're a beginner, I would probably suggest steering towards a regular, like, blank piece of wood instead of the cookie slab. This is going to carve a lot cleaner and smoother than this. But this is still enjoyable. And again, I was kind of drawn to this cookie slab because of the live edge all the way around. I just thought it looked really unique. But if you're new to carving, this is going to give you a more enjoyable experience. Both of these pieces are linked in the YouTube shop within the video if you're interested in trying some of these slabs out. I know a lot of people ask me about my carving wood, and I carve a lot of white pine that I prep myself, but I'm kind of starting to get a little bit more into basswood, and those I just purchased online, and the ones that I've been using so far have been linked in the video YouTube shop. So if you're interested in that, you can give that a try. So back to the basswood. About 6 years ago, this was one of my very first wildlife relief carvings, and it was actually a cookie slab, and I didn't really know at all what I was doing, and I ended up trying this cookie slab out. As you can see, end grain on both sides, and from what I can remember, it carved fairly decent. I was pretty impressed, but again, I basically had just started and didn't really know what I was doing. But you can carve end grain, it is possible. So with that being said, let's start carving. So the first thing I'm going to do is outline the design with my V-gouge. And one thing I'm going to just note before I start is these little nooks here, I'm not going to get super close to the line here, just for the sake of doing it a little bit quicker and easier, just for the first couple passes, just to get down to my depths. I'm basically gonna kind of float near it, but I'm not gonna get all the way in and get into that tight U. For some of these I probably will, but some of these smaller ones, like obviously the points here are the weak spots in the carving. So to maintain that and get down to my depths relatively fast without worrying about chipping out these tips is I'm just going to kind of float near it, but not get all the way into that U to kind of create that weakness, if that makes sense. And again, when you're carving end grain, you have to make sure your gouges are very sharp, otherwise it's not going to be as forgiving as like a regular blank piece of wood. So I got the one pass done. It's probably about a 1/16 to an 1/8 in depth. And I'm gonna do at least one more pass with my V-gouge, get it down to maybe a quarter or a little more. Eventually I'm probably gonna have to transition to the stop cut, traditional stop cut method. But this piece is about a 1/2 inch. So what I like to do is give I guess the thinnest part of the backing. I don't want to go, probably 3/8 of an inch would probably be the closest I would want to get to the background. So, I mean, you could maybe push an 1/8, but that'd be really pushing it, I guess. And you see I'm kind of bypassing these small little U-shaped areas, these deeper parts. And when I get down to my preferred depth after that, then I'll readdress those spots. Okay, so I got that outline done. It's probably about close to a 1/4 inch, I'd say. The next thing I'm gonna do is taper this hard line that was created on the outside by my V-gouge, and I'm gonna use probably shallow to medium sweep gouge, kind of like probably a number 3 or number 5, somewhere in there. It's gonna be a fairly aggressive taper, okay? I'm not gonna go way out here, okay? So I'm gonna keep it fairly close. Just give me some room to allow me to do some of the stop cuts, because eventually I'm going to kind of go around it with a nice gouge stroke outline, but I'm not going to give it like a background or anything. I'll show you when I get there. I'm going to use my number 5 12mm, but you can use whatever is similar to that. And again, I'm going to do my tapering. So the next step is going to be very tedious. It's going to be the traditional stop cut method all the way around the leaf. And this is when I'm going to get in to these deep U's and try to get the exact outline that I possibly can all the way around. Again, this is where it's nice to have a good variety of sweeps with your gouges, so then the gouges match the curvature of the leaf in the different areas. You can sometimes get away with it with your V gouge on its side going along the leaf edge, but that's going to be difficult getting into some of these deeper spots. So I'm going to try first with my V gouge and do what I can, at least on these longer sections here. But I know I'm going to have to transition to my stop cut method at some point. So we'll see how much I can get done with my V gouge. Now I'm going to use my small gouge here and get into these deep U's and kind of clean it up a bit here. So the next thing I'm going to do is shape the leaf, and generally what I like to do is where the veins of the leaf come in, those are going to be my deeper spots. And so I'm going to use a deeper, larger gouge to do that. But the veins is generally going to be where the deeper spots are, and then kind of on the outsides of the leaf, the outside edges, you can kind of experiment, I guess, and I guess add some low spots and add some high spots. And then these deep U's here generally are higher spots. Generally, that's what I like to do. I mean, leaves are fairly random, but just for, I guess, simplicity, that's what I like to do. I'm gonna start with my number 8. I think that's a good sweep for this, but I'm just gonna go in and deep along these veins of the leaf. And don't worry about the, you're gonna lose the actual drawing here. The goal here is just to shape it. Then I'm gonna bring it back up here where it connects to the stem. Now I'm just kind of blending, like there's some hard lines here that I'm blending, and then just cleaning up some of these edges. Now the goal too is to kind of maintain these, I guess, gouge strokes, because it kind of gives it a unique texture to the leaf. But I wouldn't say you want them like huge, so you might want to soften some of them. But structurally, like shaping wise, I'm fairly satisfied with the leaf, but I might just go deeper in just a few spots just to make it stand out a little bit more. Now I'm going to take my small gouge again and just kind of clean it up and I guess add that gouge stroke texture on the leaf here. Just kind of doing little strokes here. now I'm going to round the stem here. Now I'm going to redraw the veins on here and then take my V-gouge and trace that. So the leaf is, for the most part, done. It's shaped, textured, and detailed. And so the last thing I'm going to do is the outline border, I guess, background, and a little undercutting. So that's the last step. That's going to be pretty putsy stuff, though. right, so the carving is all done. I'm just gonna kind of clean it up with some light sanding now. Some of the edges of the leaf are a little, I don't know, you can just kind of see some grain to it, so I'm just gonna go around the edges with some light sanding. Then I'm gonna use my bent files as well to assist with that, and I'm gonna kind of go in the undercut areas where obviously I had undercutted and just clean that up a little bit too.